Michael Jackson was not only the king of pop, he was also the king of fashion. Michael Jackson's fashion choices, from iconic military jackets to the sequin glove to the high water pants to the fedora, all of it really played a major role in Michael Jackson's iconic status in the entertainment industry. Today we're going to be talking about Michael Jackson's fashion, Michael Jackson's costumes, what happened to them after he passed away, and we're going to be talking about the little known exhibition that toured Michael Jackson's costumes all over the world. Today's video is brought to you by Luisa. They are partnering with me on this video today, and I'm going to be letting you guys know about their massive holiday sale. They have beautiful jewelry. Of what I'm wearing today, you see me rocking it, and they have amazing gifts for everybody on your list. Today I bring on a Michael Jackson fashion expert. He's super duper knowledgeable. Let's get into this episode. And I decided to have a guest on today that knows Michael Jackson's fashion more than anyone else I know. Shane, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
He currently runs an account on Instagram that you guys might know called MJ's Got the Look. And I'm going to introduce you guys to him because he's got a lot of experience when it comes to Michael Jackson fashion. Kind of accidentally, he ended up working with Michael Bush, who dressed Michael Jackson for years, the majority, I would say, of his adult solo career. He ended up working with Michael Bush on the 2012 Exhibition World Tour, and that was basically promoting a large collection of Michael Jackson clothing. Fun fact, I actually went to the exhibition when it was in Tokyo, not the one in the UK.
That's the only one I didn't go to.
Yeah. But so just to run down, you were an 18-year-old filmmaking student. You had run into Michael Bush and started talking to him, right? And
pretty much, yeah. I sent an email actually to Julien's auctions because they were obviously overseeing the auction of the collection of Tomkins and Bush, as they were referring to it as. I was about to be 18 and I said to them, I would love to interview Michael Bush. I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. You send lots of similar emails to lots of people and never really get too far. And actually Darren Julien, who's like president, CEO of Julien's, emailed me back like the next day and said, yeah, we can. If you can get yourself to Dublin. So I'm based in London, so not too far away, like an hour flight. We can give you 20 minutes with him, and yeah, we can use the footage, you can use the footage, and everybody benefits mutually, really. So yeah, that's where it all began.
That's amazing. That's so cool that they actually wrote back. Like you said, that's pretty rare.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do. I wasn't expecting it. I didn't really have a next bit.
Yeah, it's like, okay, wait, okay, I guess I got to book a flight now.
Exactly, yeah.
So basically you went there, you had this session where you interviewed and chatted with Michael Bush.
Yeah.
And you ended up, from what I understand, kind of correcting him on some of the tours and the dates and the costume details and everything.
Very politely, but yeah.
Which I feel like is a lot of us Michael Jackson fans, like, we're like, okay, wait, that was this day or that day. But it's so cool that you had all this knowledge and he ended up being impressed by it and was like, you know more about these costumes than I do. And so he decided to keep you around, and that's how you ended up working with him, right?
Yeah, I've actually still got him on tape saying that as well, so I'm holding on to that forever, where there's like this kind of moment of realization where he kind of goes off to one side and he goes, the costume's better than I do, which is, as weird as it might sound for a fan to know a lot of stuff, for him, I don't think he had the same connection to it. It was just a job, it was just clothes. Of course, very aware of the fact that it's Michael Jackson's clothes, but when you've done that for 30 years, you are going to get mixed up, Do you know what you were wearing on a certain date 15, 20 years ago? Probably not. I certainly don't. Right. So, yeah.
Especially not if it was work. I'm like, did I make that happen on that day? Probably. I think so.
Yeah. There's 123 nights on the Bad Tour. Did he wear a certain buckle on this? Maybe. We have to look back. There's as much research as there is knowledge to all of this.
And so, okay, so you got a chance to meet with him. He was impressed by your knowledge. And kind of then what happened? What happened? How did you get involved with the actual exhibition?
So it was kind of discussed that there might be something in London for the exhibition. I was chatting to Bush and to Darren from Julien's and said, if anything does go forwards with that, of course I'd love to be involved. I kind of wasn't asking for any money. It was just like more than enough to have some involvement in that. And I met Bush in I'm sure it was the June of 2012. And across emails, kind of every week or two, kind of started to build up that the London thing was going to happen. And by September, it was kind of almost definite, but we couldn't talk about it. And then I think it was like the October that we actually opened it. So yeah, just constant emails, probably being quite annoying to them, to be honest, just kind of harassing them, saying, "Oh, can I please work on it?" And Bush was kind of keen for me to be involved, and we got quite friendly and got to know each other fairly well. He actually kind of spent a lot of time with me, and he actually showed me through his book before it was even released.
Oh, wow.
And one morning I had to go to the shopping centre where they were doing the exhibition. It was just a room full of like flight cases and suitcases full of clothing, and pulling something out and saying, "Right, what's this? When was it worn? And which order does it go in?" And it was pretty much just that.
What a dream for a Michael Jackson fan, right? Especially you that knew so much about the clothing, because I think if I was in that situation, like I know some things, but I'm like, I'm not that familiar with the items, you know? So you must have been really like on cloud nine.
Yeah, I mean, we were pulling things out of cases that I didn't even anticipate still existed. I mean, the original Smooth Criminal suit from like Moonwalker came out of a suitcase, and I saw the jacket and assumed that it was from the Dangerous tour or the Bad tour. And then it had the pants with it, and it was kind of slightly yellowed as well from its age. And he said, "No, that is the one." And I was just like, "Wow, okay, you've got some serious stuff here."
Just so matter of fact, right?
Yeah, and like he had this stuff under his bed and in spare bedrooms at home, like because it was just stuff that he'd worked with over the years. You know, we don't take great care of our clothes.
Michael Jackson passed away in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
In 2012, when this exhibition happened, it was kind of, I don't know, was it just kind of like to showcase the clothing and have like an event to bring people together, like to remember Michael, or was there like an end goal for this exhibition? Because I remember it toured, like I said, I went to the one in Japan, and I don't really recall like there being a point to it, rather than it just being kind of like almost like a museum, like a temporary museum thing that people could go to.
So the truth is, it was all marketing for an auction of Bush selling a lot, not all, but a lot of the stuff that he'd created. Had some backlash from the community, to be honest. The fans were unhappy that some of this stuff was being sold. I understand that. And I kind of was in two minds the whole time whilst working on this exhibition, given its kind of end purpose. But I always do say to people when asked about that particular auction, because there was a lot of stuff sold. First of all, for anything tour related, there's not just one. And Michael's estate has, I think it's 5 or 6 warehouses full of clothing, cars. They have pretty much one of everything. I know they have a Bad tour outfit, they have a Dangerous tour outfit, History tour. You know, they're not short on things that they could display. And I think it's quite clear now, or it's certainly seeming unlikely, that we're going to get any kind of official exhibition or museum, other than the occasional piece being on display in the Grammy Museum. Because it just hasn't happened. You know, I think we're 15 years plus now on since Michael passed, and we've not had something. So, you know, whilst it's a fantastic idea to have this stuff displayed somewhere, first of all, you need the estate's involvement. You need to find a space big enough for it. There's a lot more to it than it being just a nice idea to display this stuff. Is it a shame that it got sold off? Yeah, it is. But the estate has plenty of things if they so wish to display.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the stuff that was sold, maybe I'm mistaken, but I have seen some things displayed, whether it be like at the Las Vegas show in MJ1, like they have a version of the Smooth Criminal suit, and looking at it, I wouldn't be like, is this the one from Michael Bush, or was this a second copy? Like, it's just, I mean,
I know it's hard because a lot of people think of like these things as only having had one, but like you said, on tours he's probably got three versions of the same jacket or even more.
Yeah,
Um,
even the
right?
thriller jacket from the short film. There's still two of those. The pristine one was sold. The estate still has the kind of zombie distressed torn up one, which I think you probably saw recently actually at the I
Yes.
forget the name of
I
the
d-
event, but
this is Thriller. Prince Jackson's
yeah.
foundation Hilale did This is Thriller, and I saw the distressed jacket, and I just wanted to share. Someone left a funny comment and was like, "Why would they display this? This is in such horrible condition."
Oh
And
god.
I was like, "Oh, this is the zombie one." I was like, "And if you compare it to the video, the rips are exactly the same." And they were like, "Well noted."
as soon as I saw as soon as I saw the photos from that, I literally kind of got side by side and was looking at the rips and stuff, and I was like, okay, yeah, it's the one.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you because you have a page now. It's called MJ's Got the Look, and it's kind of like an archive, a visual archive of a lot of Michael's fashion. Um, and it's really fun. A lot of fans are really loving the engagement on there and just some of the facts that you share. So could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Okay, yeah. So the page is something that I'm kind of really passionate about. It's hard to run, as I'm sure you know, doing what you do, to have something that's just really for fun whilst having a full-time job and an actual real life going on the side as well. But it's a hobby, and it's something that I kind of, no matter what, try to make time to do. And I really enjoy kind of the interactivity that I get from the fans now. It feels like it's become a small thing in the kind of fan community, and we've got certain people that send us things, and people have, there was somebody recently sent me a Bad Tour Beat It jacket that was sold at auction, and it looked totally different to the jacket that was worn in any photo or footage that I'd seen. And so this fan said, I
Wow.
think it's fake. And to be honest, looking at it, I thought maybe it is. The zippers on it were like double the thickness. Some of the kind of metal studs on it, the number of them was different to any I'd seen before. And then totally by chance, whilst scrolling through Instagram just a couple of days ago, I found a picture of him wearing that jacket, and he wore it in Los Angeles on the Bad Tour at the very end of the tour. So it must have been made, I assume, quite quickly if the original got
Wow.
damaged. And I sent it to that person, and they were, oh wow, I never thought I'd see him wearing this. But yeah, there's huge amount of time goes into researching some of the posts, because there's variations. You can get as detailed as looking at, oh, the zippers are missing on this version of it, and really narrowing things down to when they were worn and when they were made. And yeah, it's a time consuming hobby, but it's fun.
Yeah, that is super cool. So I want to get into a lot of the information that you know. Like, I think a lot of Michael Jackson fans admire the fashion, but they don't know much about it. So,
Yeah, did you want to ask something like specific or just general?
yes,
Okay, go.
yes, I have some specific questions for you. So, the fashion. So, I've heard throughout the years that, like, fashion, big part of Michael Jackson and his legacy, but like, how did this actually contribute to his overall image, like as a performer?
I think functionality was pretty much what everything that he wore kind of hung on in terms of style and design. He would say to Bush, if it looks great but it's not working for me, even if there's 80,000 people watching me, it's coming off. And there's footage of that exact thing happening. There's one of I think it's the very first night of the Bad Tour, he comes out wearing a black version of the bodysuit, with the zipper kind of going diagonally across him. And he's wearing a kind of half glove, half arm brace, black leather thing that kind of goes around the fingers. And he cues want to be starting something. And I think I timed it at some point. I think less than 2 minutes into the song, he's kind of walking up and down the stage, and he just rips this thing off of his arm and just tosses it off the stage. And I've never seen any footage beyond the opening night of the tour of him wearing that thing
Wow.
on stage. So I think that
He
was
was
quite
serious about
short-lived.
it.
Yeah, anything that kind of hindered him, it was quite short-lived.
Okay, so what about things like the white glove, the white socks, sequin white glove? Debatable. But what about those?
Those are Swarovski crystals. They are not sequins.
Oh, sorry. See, that's why we have you here. We need the real deal, the knowledge.
In fact, actually, we'll take a break at some point. I actually have some of the crystals, so I can show you.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll pause at some point, and I'll go and grab those. So I think there were kind of multiple thoughts behind things like the glove and the socks. For example, why just one glove? You know, there's lots of thought on that. Pretty much what Bush told me was that the kind of thought behind that was, you know, 2 gloves is what everybody does. 1 glove is not what everybody wears. So purely on that, you notice it, you pay attention to it, and you question it, which makes you, you know, you're paying attention. It's kind of commanding your attention purely out of its oddity. There's a practical element to it too. You know, it would catch the light as he's performing. So, you know, if he's wearing a black jacket, but you just have the white hand here with the glove, you know, if it goes out here, your eye is kind of programmed to follow light. So you're going to look at, you know, the hand movements. You're going to see, you know, the socks. And if he didn't have the short trousers, you know, if they were just hanging over the loafers, you know, he could be moving his feet all over the place. Against a black stage, you're not going to see that. So the white is just there to catch the light.
It's very interesting to me because Michael Jackson was so meticulous with like his thought process and like using like even those basic elements of like human psychology and like where our eye would catch and where we would look and all that stuff to contribute towards his performances on stage and in videos. And that's really cool.
So one of my favorite things about the holidays is picking out that perfect gift for all of my loved ones, and Ana Luisa is definitely the place that I go to when I'm looking for affordable and really beautiful, aesthetic, high quality jewelry. All the jewelry offerings on Ana Luisa are hypoallergenic, they're water resistant, and they're super duper easy to wear. They're really comfortable. Today I'm wearing this mama necklace, which I absolutely love, and I also have on the pave earrings. And they have a lot of different tones. They have gold, they have rose gold, they have silver, and they even have solid gold. One of the things that I think makes Ana Luisa really special is you buy more and you save more. So the more you buy, the more you save. They have fast free shipping and a 2-year warranty on all of their pieces. So if something goes wrong during that time, if the quality is not what you expected, you can do a free returns, but you probably won't need to because like I said, I've been using Ana Luisa jewelry for the last several years and I really, really love all the pieces I've gotten. If you're interested in shopping Ana Luisa, they're having a big, massive holiday sale for all of their jewelry, earrings, necklaces, bracelets, rings, anklets, anything that you can think of they have. I highly recommend that you guys check that out and use my link down below to make sure that you're shopping and getting that discount. Now back to talking about Michael Jackson and his amazing fashion.
So Michael Bush and Dennis Tomkins, I just want to get that like sorted because I know that we all are or a lot of us are familiar with Michael Bush. He had his book that he came out with called King of Style, which I don't know if that is still in print or not.
It's not, and I'm going to be having words with him early in the new year to try and republish that. It's like super expensive online now. I was looking recently to see if I could get another copy, and I was just like, wow, this is a collectible now.
A lot of people are looking for it. Like I always see people for it. I was fortunate to get it. But he wrote a whole book because he worked with Michael. I believe the story was from Captain EO.
Yeah.
On through This Is It and all that. So, but he worked also with Dennis Tomkins, correct? They were a team at some point.
Tomkins and Bush were a collaborative couple. Dennis was kind of almost the designer. Bush was kind of more the dresser and would be kind of more hands-on with the the putting together of these things. But I think I would be right in saying that the creative side of the design, not completely, but for the majority of things, would sit more with Dennis, and that's why Bush would be the one that would go out on tour with Michael and be his dresser. Dennis would stay home and be there working on the next project or the next tour or whatever they need next, basically.
Got it. Okay. And from what I know, and I think I've seen this written, and you shared this too, that Michael used to work with Bill Witten, and then he kind of switched over to
Yeah.
Tomkins and Bush. Was there like a big difference or notable difference in style? Because to me, in the naked eye, I'm like, I really am not sure, but there's got to have been something where like the fashion evolved when he moved to Tomkins and Bush.
I would say that in terms of, I mean, both creators are equally as talented, and I wouldn't really say that I have a preference. I think that Bill Witten had the kind of benefit of working with Michael, arguably in his prime. I would say the Victory Tour going up towards the Bad Tour is pretty much when Michael was kind of on top of his game, and he was young enough to wear heavier things. So, he could wear a kind of 8 to 10 pound plus jacket that's covered from collar to waist in Swarovski crystals and sing live and get away with it. But as Michael got older, he was far more conscious and cautious of what he was wearing and why. So I think Tomkins and Bush kind of took the inspiration from what Bill Witten was doing, and they really did carry over that kind of military look. But when you compare what they were creating, the Bill Witten stuff is heavy, and I mean really, really heavy stuff. I mean, I've held some of these things. It's like you think, Jesus, I wouldn't want to walk in this, let alone dance for 2 hours. Sorry.
And sorry, I was going to ask you, and are you referring to like a lot of the jackets, like the Victory Tour, like the silver and teal with gold jacket?
Exactly. Yeah, that kind of almost aqua colored jacket is one of my favorite things. It has a kind of almost floral pattern on it. You can't appreciate the detail in something like that until it's kind of up close in front of you. On screen and photographs, you can see there's detail there. But when you get close to something like that, and you can see, each one of these things, there's maybe 50 different types of crystal and bead just within that one jacket, different colors and textures, and it's the clothing pieces are almost kind of art pieces in themselves. Before they became kind of iconic for Michael Jackson, they're kind of they stand up alone, really.
I wish that I had had a chance to like see some of the pieces up close, because even at the exhibition, for me, it was like, at least in Tokyo when I went, it was close, but it was still far enough away for I would have to be like it's cool to see, but to have your experience where you actually got to hold it and really get a close look must have been great.
Yeah, I think the kind of the best the fans can do now, and actually where I got to see some of the Victory Tour things up close was in the Grammy Museum in Los Angeles. They do rotate it, but all of that stuff comes from the estate. So yeah, they've almost always got something Victory Tour related on display there, and the quality and the workmanship that's gone into those, it wasn't. People say, Bill Witten made this. Actually, a team of about 10, 15 people were there. There'd be two ladies with a sleeve attaching crystals from one end until they met in the middle, and this, the stuff would all be put together later. Bill Witten, not to take anything away from his creation, but there's a bigger picture when it comes to creating these things. He was the label.
Right. Okay. Speaking of the earlier years, I want to know if you can give us some information about the even earlier years. I am a big Michael Jackson fan, of course, but huge into the Jackson 5 as well. And I wanted to know from you, what are some key transitions that you think that we can note about Michael's style from the time he was in the Jackson 5 to Off the Wall and getting into that solo career?
As far as the Jackson 5 stuff, actually Bill Witten made a lot of the Jackson 5 Jackson's stuff too. So he was working with the family and Michael from like very, very early days. I think generally speaking, with the Jackson 5 stuff, you could see that, and obviously he's super young, so there wasn't a huge amount of Michael's kind of taste and preference coming through. A lot of it was just kind of, wear this. And kind of keeping the brothers all looking quite uniform. You often see them almost wearing identical clothing, and it's as he gets older and starts to kind of not step away, but kind of start defining himself and becoming like a young man and, developing his own taste and styles. It's there kind of the Triumph tour leading up to Off the Wall that things start to change in Michael's style, and he kind of starts to make it his own, I think. And yeah, I think it's not a secret that Michael, didn't want to do the Victory Tour. He wasn't kind of super on board with the whole thing and a lot of stuff that was going on behind the scenes. But you can tell that tour was very much him. When it comes to the style, he had the best outfits. He had everything was Bill Whitten, but I think words were had, and Michael stands out from everybody else on that stage, and for good reason.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. All those sparkly jackets. Like if I think about what the other brothers are wearing, and I'm a huge fan of all of them, I can't. Nothing really comes to mind as being
way less specific and way less kind of like and another kind of change that happened was on the Victory Tour. Although it did become quite regimented with the costumes, Michael would wear different things on different nights, certainly towards the beginning of the tour. So he was still developing his style. I think it's the first night of the Victory Tour, if not very early on. Bill made him these kind of black and white striped trousers that have some crystals going down the stripes. Michael hated it. And Bill said to him, wear it and see how you feel. And he never wore them again. And again, that then led to the kind of almost always wearing the black trousers that became kind of what you kind of, when you think of Michael Jackson on stage, aside from the gold pants, pretty much you're thinking of him in black.
Yeah, and that's interesting that you bring that up because, it's almost like the top, the torso is like kind of like the thing to look at. Mm-hmm. Then there's the glove, and then there's the feet. But then his actual legs and stuff, they kind of almost faded into the background. It's a big part of the dance, but I wonder if that's part of kind of.
I mean, there's always something there. Like there was always like the tuxedo stripe on the trousers. So if he spins, you would catch that. On the Bad Tour, he had buckles and kind of belts and stuff that would kind of break up the solid black so you could see the movement. So there's always something there that, whilst, yes, they are black, you can see something that just keeps your eye on the movement